Hey everybody, Chuck here. Just want to give you a quick heads up about this show, because normally we try to keep it mostly clean when we're chatting, but me and Mr. Meth were getting into it, and the language got a little bit loose, so, his frustrations with the current time of what's going on getting to us a little bit. So just a heads up in case you normally listen around the little ones. So sit back and enjoy the conversation.
The first one. I haven't listened since you got back on the horse. I really did love the first one, though. It's just, I'm sorry, man. You started your podcast back up again at an inconvenient time for me. So, go ahead and start again, please.
Start again, episode 6. That's what this is. This is episode 6 of Strength Hammer or Rantcast, whatever we want to call it. I'm stealing your moniker.
Strength Cast, Rant Hammer,
Rant Hammer. I guess skip the last 2 episodes because I found out that Skype, which is what I was using to record because I'm super professional around here and everything free is what I use, decided to drop the last 15 minutes of each podcast. No way to get it back.
So you've got a decision point there. Play it as is because you already put the work in, man.
Oh, it's up. I didn't find out till after people listen to it, and then they're like, "Oh, it's cut off at the end. Like, what's missing?" I'm like, "Nothing important now."
You could go back in and VO like, "Oh, this is where we talked about this thing," but it really, you know what? Just own it. Just that's what I do. Just lean into the authenticity.
Honestly, the last 50 minutes of every show is just, hey, follow us on Twitter and Instagram if you feel like it, and then we make fun of our friend Sean McAfee and his Rush for Hire, because we call him our sponsor because he's technically part of the podcast. He just never has time to get on, and if we're talking about a subject that's all gaming, he just paints, so he'd be sitting there useless. So we usually just make fake Brush for Hire content and yell at him for not giving us money yet. That's what everyone's missing.
You shouted him out on one of the rant casts, and I was in his chat. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I found you through Chuck Moore. Oh, Chuck's a great dude. Chuck's a great dude." I'm like, I don't think you know how how much he hyped you, first of all, and I get the feeling you don't know who I am. I feel like a horrible person because I have that opinion now, but at the beginning of Rantcast it was the opposite. I'm like, I can say anything because nobody knows who I am and there's no consequences when you're a nobody. And now it's like, God damn it, I have 100 people watch my thing eventually. You should know who the fuck I am.
Go ahead.
All right.
Here, we'll do the professional podcast thing. This show is not for kids. Fuck shit, Dan. Now we're good. We're demonetized.
All right,
we're not monetized.
Okay.
I'm not monetized, nor do I care.
You'll get there.
Hey, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, actually, a funny story about Sean. So Sean has been local in my area, and he painted for 18 years alone. I barely knew him, and I said, "Hey, why don't you come to Adepticon?" And he decided to come. It was the first year I was going. I believe it was the first year I went. And maybe second. Regardless, we're walking around, and I had introduced him to Vince Venturella, because they're both painters. They both hit it off, and starting to become a friendship was building there. But there was one time where I was walking with Sean. Vince was coming my way talking with someone else, and Sean just decides to be himself, which is he's if you watch his streams, Brush for Hire, you'll notice he is who he is, and it's wonderful. Top of his lungs, even though we're 5 feet apart. Hi, Vince, as loud as he can. Vince, without missing a beat, just said, "Oh, that's Chuck's friend," and kept talking. 2 things occurred to me that was really interesting at that point. One, saying, "Oh, that's Chuck's friend," explained away everything to this person. I don't know who he was talking to, unfortunately. And 2, after that, for probably about a year and a half, Sean always introduced himself as Chuck's friend, and it worked. People were like, "Oh, okay, you're Chuck's friend. I know who Chuck is, so that makes you cool." Now, but now with Switch, I'm becoming Sean's friend.
Built by association.
Yeah,
Fight by association.
I'm stealing Sean's friend now. His Twitch is taking off, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, you paid your dues. It's time for him to pay his now, right? The shoe's on the other foot.
Listen, I don't know what else I can do. I mean, I got the Warhammer Hero Award. I'm dead. I'm like in this society's, like, I'm useless. I'm garbage to them. You've been at the top. Get out. You're done. Get out, kid. Right?
No. You got. I don't know, man. I mean, so I'm going to use the term kayfabe. Because it's a wrestling term. I did wrestling for a little while. Like I do think that Age of Sigmar has a kayfabe once you become anybody, and that doesn't mean you're a somebody, you're famous, you could just win a couple tournaments, like you don't need to be a content creator, or you're just constantly in chat, like Tristan didn't make a podcast, Tomb King Tristan didn't make a podcast for a long time. Everyone knew who he was because he's such an active member of the community. It's really easy in this community to just like kind of become somebody. But then I feel once that happens, there's sort of like a kayfabe that follows it. Like you start to have to like, not like it's acting or pretending or, but you are very much like taking like the AOS features of yourself and like being like, here's the AOS me, and then like,
yeah, to a point for sure. Although I've always just been very much and you'll get this instantly, Mark Twain. If you don't lie, you don't have to remember anything. I've never hit anything, just whether it's real life from hobby from real life. It's just been easier for me. But I know what you mean. It's just like,
well, where I was going with that is like, I think you've got a heel turn in you left to give.
Maybe. Rip this down. It's a Russian flag.
Yeah, like you tear it down. Yeah, exactly. Like you've got the Hollywood Hulk Hogan heel turn, man. Like,
well, it's that is a weird thing, and actually that's part of the topic. So here we are. I don't know how long we're in because, like I said, this is my first time using OBS, and we're making this podcast work. Because we're both having rough day. You're having a rough day, week, month.
Yeah. It's a rough day. A couple days ago turned into a rough week, and I've lost track of them since. I'm not gonna sure. Yeah, it's been rough. I came home to a leaking ceiling in the house I just bought, and I'm like, awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember
the
first week of when I bought the house I'm in right now. It was 30 degrees and the furnace stopped working. That was exciting.
Yeah. Well, like you're just like, okay, I bought the thing, and it's not like buying a house isn't like buying a model. I get the model and sure it's in like pieces, but I know what to expect. Yeah. Like, and if anything doesn't turn out, it's on me. I didn't follow the instructions. I rushed it. Like with a house, it's like I thought I did everything leading up to the purchase point, where like I hired 2 different inspectors to come in, and we had Molly's family come through, and you're just like, that we did it. I guess I didn't know to look above the fridge.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, but you didn't know that before you. Yeah, so that was today, and then yesterday my computer blue screened after having finally got internet. So I got that little bit of like that little taste of like, I'm back. I'm reconnected to the world. Yep. I'm me, the introvert, right? I'm like, oh man, I'm totally ready for COVID because I'm just gonna like play video games. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go home and play video games because I'm essential. This is my world now, losers. Like, and then just like the ultimate karmic, like I am the law. Yeah, and then just like the sort of karmic like middle finger popped up yesterday with the blue screen on my computer. So, I'm on my phone now, which is the most powerful computer most people to walk around with, and here I am with all my first world problems talking still connected, but it again, like that's what happens is you get into those little tiny digs where you're like, normally you take one in stride and you take 2 in stride and you kind of move through, and then you have this background noise of the coronavirus, of the COVID-19, the lockdown or whatever, and that just adds a little bit of static to everything. And so like these little digs become bigger. I don't know. No, I've had a day. I derailed you there, but I had a day.
I'm fine with derailing because just like when I'm on your show, my favorite thing about your show is that we just chat, and I love this. And this episode, like I said, it's not my normal co-host. It's not a plan. It's just like I woke up today and like thoughts in my head and frustrations, and then you were having a rough day. I said, do you want to record? Because I love something about that off, and you're always down for it, which is great. But yeah, so this is just going to be us chatting and seeing where it goes for however long we want to go. But I also, I guess we can say, to put in reference our future complaining, frustration, whatever we start talking about, I'm also part of a business that's essential. I'm in the building industry. I won't call myself essential in a way that like I'm going out and doing stuff. I'm sitting at home on my computer. I'm making sure that the shops and stores I oversee are functioning, and I take care of everything, do reporting. So it's like still a office junkie, I guess you can call it, but I'm still working. Right. I can't really complain. I am enjoying being home, crushing out video games, which I haven't done in such a long time.
Dude, the jealousy. I heard you finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
It's so good. Oh my god. Like, I don't want to spoil it because everyone needs to play it if you're a Final Fantasy fan, and give some more people some time. But my god, the way they just subtly handled it.
Fans like yourself
What's that?
Can have a good time. I said even Final Fantasy VIII fans like yourself can have a good time.
Oh, actually, that's the other thing. So, for our audio listeners, so I have an American flag behind me because I got tired of people saying like, "Wow, you have a really ugly basement, Chuck." I'm like, "Yes, I do. I haven't finished it." So here's an American flag, but I found my old wall scrolls. God.
Yeah.
Because I grew up, like, cosplayed in anime and Final Fantasy, so there may be Cloud back here one day. There may be Squall. There may be Cypher. You don't know what's going to be back here. It maybe it's just some anime weeb BS. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, see, this was not a weeb. I have a whole emoji and everything.
Wow. Yeah. I haven't done Twitch yet. We'll see. I don't know. Okay, it seems like I don't know what I am because everyone's always so generous. Like, Chuck, you're a content creator. You create content. Do I? I don't know. I just do things. That's what I do in my life. I just do things, and a handful of people seem to enjoy it, and that's fine because I'm doing it for me mostly. If I'm not gonna lie, I do it because I enjoy it, and if other people take joy out of it too, great. But
well, I mean, the authenticity with you isn't like a commodity that has happened with that tends to happen in the digital culture. Is like authenticity becomes a commodity. Like, it hasn't become a commodity for you or yet, or I don't foresee that happening because, like you said, you never tell a lie, then you don't have to remember it, or whatever the quote was. Like, you just live, breathe, and are yourself at all times. You don't know that you're a weeb. Like, you wouldn't even quantify it that way because I just did the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a like an an admirable state of just being that I think is what inspires people in our community. Is like, it's just like Chuck is Chuck. Like, that's why you could say I'm Chuck's friend, and just like Chuck is the qualifier to the whole thing because like, you know that yeah. Chuck is Chuck is Chuck. Like, it's not like if you say like I'm Mephisto's friend, you're like, okay, which version of Mephisto, right? Like,
yeah, the heel villain, the rock.
Yeah, like, do you really know him IRL, where he's not like playing a caricature of himself and kind of being the bad guy, even though I have never been happy with the evil playthrough in any RPG ever. I hate them. I think they're lazy usually.
So actually, there's a key point. Since I'm always me, you want to know what the biggest downside is of that? Any single time I play a tabletop RPG, guess what character I am? I'm me with pointy ears, or me with the beard because I'm a dwarf, or whenever I try to be like super fancy, I'm like, oh, I'll play a female character. I can branch out. And it's like, no, it's just me in a female body. It's like, woo. It drives my friends nuts, but I'm like, it's all I can do. Anytime I play like a BioWare game, guess what? I'm gonna sit there and make choices based on what I would think, whether that's what the walkthrough says or that's what people think. It's like, no, that's the downside.
Yeah, how do you get the best ending? Like, you don't care.
No, make the decision. I want my ending. My ending is the best ending.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's again, it's that honesty that the it hasn't become a commodity yet, and I think that's beautiful. That's part of the majesty of it. But I didn't consider the downside because I kind of live. I live that kayfabe, man. Like, I'm a big fan of pretending to be a bad guy on the internet sometimes, and I just
you rock it well.
But the thing is I think that's because it's not dishonest because it's just my sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
like
it's not that it's not you. It's just I don't even call it a characterization. It's a slight. You turn the dial of that personality just up 1 or 2 notches. It's all in fun though. It's all in good fun.
Yeah, it's playing a character. Like, I'm not playing a character. It's just my humor. You know, like you're being exposed to my wry sense of like sort of sarcasm and banter, and like that's what it is. And I don't know. It's I just think it's fun. Like when you have like a rival sports team, right? And like, I don't dislike you, rival sports team fan, you know, but it's really fun in the moment to be like, oh, you like the team I don't like, you know, like there's just a pure, simple catharsis because the world doesn't matter.
Right.
Nothing you or I do as fans for a sports ball game will actually change the course of that game. I know they talk about the fan and the momentum and all that.
I have one exception. Not that it proves this rule, what you just said, wrong, but being a Pittsburgh boy, which I'm kind of sad. You got a lot of Green Bay Packers going on. My terrible towel is out of reach. Otherwise, I'd just start waving it to. Wait, well, let's see. I've only ever.
Don't wave it in your bait. You don't know.
I've only ever rooted for 3 teams in my life: the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Denver Broncos, and the Green Bay Packers, because they're all the same mentality. Let's give them that. All good teams.
Respect. It's the blue collar, relatively smaller demo. I guess Denver is it is a small metropolis, but like
it was the Elway. It was the Elway. Yeah, he had that mentality.
But it's that small town, like small market team. I think like Pittsburgh is flanked by the biggest city, one of the biggest cities in the world, and they've got basically practically three teams. You add in like Foxborough, right, which is basically New Jersey. Like you just have like, and New Jersey is a poor man's New York City. So like, shots fired, East Coast fans. And then you got like just like the humble Pittsburgh, right? And like,
humble. Oh my God, humble. That's a new word. I've never been called humble as a Pittsburgh fan.
Eagles fan humble. Like, come on.
Oh, well, regardless, I went when the Pirates was that might have been 5 years ago now. Whenever they were actually going to the playoffs again and things were looking good, and went to the Cardinals game, I think it was, and Cueto was pitching. And if you have ever heard an entire stadium, and that's the thing, Pittsburgh has amazing stadiums. They're great to go to, even though the teams aren't always that great. Was it 30,000 people just shouting Cueto, Cueto, and he drops the ball and everyone cheers? That we affected that game. I can tell you that. You get 30,000 people inside someone's head putting bad juju on you, and you drop the ball. Oh, he got pulled after the next pitch, which was a wild pitch.
I guess I could walk it back a little bit. Like you said, it's an exception. I do think momentum and juju. I'm just going to use your word. I do think those are quantifiable in competition. Honestly, in your life, like you go home from work and you're like, I'm going to crush 10 squats at a weight I haven't done before versus I'm going to pound out 1,000 words on my keyboard. Like the mentality of it matters. And if I have like 10,000 people in this room behind me yelling, "You suck, you're not going to get it done," I've got some extra work on my plate, Yeah. So, but on the micro sense, I'm sitting across from like Pittsburgh Steeler fan, and I'm just like, your team sucks, ha ha ha. Like I didn't make that team suck because I like outsmack talked Pittsburgh. Like it's just like there's a health bar, like there's a morale bar, like above our like heads floating there, and I'm like back. Talk you like you get your limit break and you've got that one last ditch effort. But it's fun to think about it that way, by the way.
It is. Well, listen, anytime you can take sports ball and turn it into RPG stats, it's worth it.
Yeah, fantasy football. Hello, D&D. Not comfortable with admitting you're D&D nerds, adult men. Like, we get it.
That's all you are. You're doing math for stats on players and blah.
It's funny. I find it funny.
It is. But I guess I don't know. General topic of tonight. After that rabbit
Now
hole.
we're getting into it. Yeah, here we
We're
go.
into it. So I've been sitting at home a lot, which, like I said, I've been enjoying the quarantine a lot. I'm saving a lot of money on gas, commutes less. I'm getting stuff done around the house. I've knocked out more hobby in the past month than I have in the past year, and it feels so good. But I've also had a lot of time to just kind of sit down here in the basement, because that's where my hobby space is in my basement, as is my gym, as is my actual workspace. So it's all right here. It's all around me. It's great. But I have a lot of time to think, and I'm a lot of times in this basement, and it's been kind of rainy, so I'm not getting outside too much, but as much as possible. So I've been more introspective, which is weird because I'm an extrovert. I usually just stay surface level because that's my happy place. I try not to go too deep too often. I do because it's a necessity of life, and you don't want to, be a blind sheep wandering around. But I've been spending a lot more time going introspective, and I've reached a frustrating point. One, I miss people. I love my wife, and I get to kind of see people, but I miss just seeing people, because even right now, it's like I want to go out and see people doesn't mean they want to come out and see me. You know what I mean? Because some people are more afraid than others, and there is people that are, I have friends who are serious health risks if they would catch this. Whereas if I went out and caught it, pretty sure I'd be okay. Pretty sure I'd be like, maybe get a flu and level, and then that'd be my worst of it. But it's just.
I mean, it is like a 2.5% chance to roll snake eyes on a charge, and I have rolled that snake eyes on a charge, man.
It is. But don't forget, I worship Cain, so I got lots of rerolls.
Fair enough. Yeah.
More
Plus,
rerolls.
you swole, right? So, like, you have the rerolls already on the war scroll.
Plus, if I counter Corvid on turn 3, it's good. My blood rights table, I'm good. But no, it one of the frustrating things that's been bothering me is like the fact that I've been surrounded by all my models, and I've literally am reaching this point where I am out of stuff to do hobby wise. I have a few things left I'm scrounging to bring up. I have my old Dark Elf and High Elf army that I rebased the rounds and got a few uses out of them, but I didn't flock them or put any basing on them, actually. I'm going to do that. Not that it serves any purpose or I plan on bringing them out, but just to do it. Outside of that, I have...
Now you're on the busy work end of the spectrum, right? Like, the busy work is starting to come up.
Yeah, and you'd think that I'd be like, oh man, I'm almost done. I did it. We're gonna, I'll leave that one model set aside. I have a Bugman's from Warhammer World. I'm gonna let that set aside. Let it be a collector's piece. That way, I always have one unpainted model, just in case there's the curse where you die if you finish all your models. But
right.
The closer I've got to it, the more I just sit here and go like, okay, well, what do I love? Like, you ask anybody out there, Chuck, what are you? It's like, okay, well, outside of the Taylor Swift and lifting, it's like just Warhammer focused. You love Daughters of Cain, and you like Dark Angels. That's it. And then I'm sitting here going, okay, I got lots of those. I still want to get more. I'm fine with that. I absolutely adore them. But I'm like, this Stormcast army, this Khorne army, this Ideneth army, this Sylvaneth army, this Slaanesh army, like all this stuff that's just sitting there. And the Maria Kondo's coming out, where I'm just like, as I'm getting more introspective, I'm thinking like, what's valuable to me? And it's like memories, people, trips, not things. And I'm reaching this frustrating point where I'm starting to see a lot of Warhammer stuff as things, not my Daughters of Cain, not my Dark Angels, but like let's just focus AOS, because that is the better game. But not my Daughters of Cain. I adore them, and I will keep growing them, and I will have 10,000 points here probably by the end of next month. And all these other ones, I'm just like, why do I still have them? And it's, and that leads me down the path. Like, am I keeping them because I think having so many armies with so many points is like my badge of like, hey, I'm a war gamer? But it's also like, I don't care about that sort of stuff. So like, where is this feeling coming from? And it's frustrating because I can't figure it out. And then I also like can't figure out, is this a temporary feeling because of the stuff going on, that static that you said? Is this something more real? Like, yeah, I should sell them because I haven't played them in gosh knows how long.
Right.
So, and like I said, I was going to talk, just babble tonight on my own. So I'm really glad you came on, because I really like your opinion, and you are a good foil against what I say, because you're a good opposite side of my coin.
I no, like you're like you said, you are the extrovert. I internalize everything to a kind of a detriment where like I sometimes struggle to see others' perspectives in situations like this. Like I'm like I want people out of my house, go for a walk. Like I want to be alone. Like, you know, like, but part of the what you were talking about, it reminded me of like some of our conversations about your lifting. I asked you like, do you have a goal weight? You know, like once upon a time, or like, do you have like a weight that you want to lift? And you were just like pretty much no. Like you had a more eloquent way of saying it. Like no, I just want to be as swole as possible. I want to be as healthy as possible, and you know, like you kind of had this open-ended side of it. And Daughters of Cain for you are open-ended, but like the other stuff kind of isn't. You know, like it's just to have it, and that's not. You're a very like goal-oriented person, and if you don't have and it's a tangible goal thing. It's one thing to say like this person's goal-oriented. Like you're very tangible, like to your benefit. Like you like this is the goal, and you can set them out in like a nice plan and like chase that. And like, so what's the goal of having corn right now? You know, like
the goal was probably to where it's at. Paint an army that was a white army. Paint it that specific one, and that was it. It wasn't even like even my Slanesh. The more I look at my Slanesh that I just painted, the goal was to paint it. I wanted to push myself on painting, and I did that. I don't care if I play.
But like that's not open-ended, you know. Like that's not open-ended. The way that like you know, your Daughters of Cain, because you love them. That's just who you are. Like every time. Yes, go on.
No, I kind of see. Like I said, I didn't even think about that, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, and no one's really brought it back up in that way. And took because you took something that I talked about before and said like, all right, here you go, reverse it, Kamehameha, take it. Sorry, I had to.
What up, you man?
But like and say open ended, like with goals. As soon as I hit a weight, like I want to deadlift 405, and like I said, that was a couple years ago now, but like as soon as I hit that, I'm like, okay, cool, 500 before that weight hit the ground. So I guess that's probably like with Daughters of Cain, like I want to hit 10K. All right, what's after that? Not 11K, like just
right,
or like max size of every, I don't know, but so, like I always create something to go with it. So I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, Teyrathi keeps evolving. You know, she's always got like a new model comes out. How can I incorporate this into Teyrathi? Like it's like your Daughters of Cain. Again, it's part of who you are, which is an important component. I think like having goals that are not part of your, like sort of like MO for like a normal person that can cause like a discordance. Like it's part of who you are, like Daughters of Cain vibe, and so when you have those. That next you've got that open-ended to keep that going forward, but I do feel like there's still something else you're getting at, which is just like the general like extrovert malaise where you said like I want to see people and like models. As much as we love our game, come on, the social part of our game is what makes it for me. The filthy historical background of playing competitive stuff. Like tons of cooperative play with RPGs and stuff because RPGs are cooperative. But like, I have like what I call like competitive outlets. I have to maintain one competitive game in my life. It's why I played Counter-Strike Source. It's why I was a progression raider, and I would always do like the other stuff alongside for my pleasures, But I always had to have that thing that was the competitive outlet. And like Age of Sigmar, I thought like I'm going to come here and this is going to be where all of them come together, and so like I'm going to get my narrative because I'm a writer, so I'm going to write all the fluff and background, and all the voices in my head are finally going to come together. And I realized like without the social, almost none of it matters. Like how great your story is for your sweet ass army is like totally, I don't want to say meaningless because it's really like I write stories that no one will ever read, so like I get that catharsis.
Right.
But like, without being able to like share it with the other person and be like, this is my story, oh that's your story, oh yeah, and like riff with somebody, it just like some of those other things that make our game special, like you start to see how like lopsided the experience is without people, even though I'd posit many of us are more introverted than extroverted. But like introversion isn't about like not being able to be social, it's about social on my time. I choose to do Age of Sigmar because, I've got $100 of social currency in my wallet.
Mm-hmm.
The best bang for my buck is Age of Sigmar. That's the,
Right.
like, dollar for dollar, the best return on my social investment is going to be playing Age of Sigmar with friends or strangers even, because we have a common ground.
Yeah, and it is interesting too. Like, now that you mention it, like thinking of like Adepticon, Nova, and all that, you can tell who the extroverts are in the community, because the introverts, like, you need to rest, you'll go away, you'll recharge your batteries, you'll come back whenever you're good to go. However that is, whether it's just a nap, whether it's just chilling in the room, going out to eat, whatever. Then the extroverts were just always around moving, so it's kind of like interesting, because like my view is I see people filtering in and out all the time whenever I'm at these events into conversations and hanging out, because I just always want to be there. So that, I didn't really think about that, but that's a really interesting perspective. Whereas a lot of people just have that, like, they're in, they're out, they go here, they go there. It's really maybe not so fluid, because it's never not ending.
Right. Well, my favorite, I think my favorite moment in an Age of Sigmar event is still the night before. I think that's my favorite minute. Like my favorite moment of the whole tournament is because nobody's like switched gears yet. The Brendan Melnicks of the world are going to go get their beauty sleep at about 10 o'clock sharp. Love you, Brendan. But like, you're going to have that moment where like everyone's just kind of like hanging out. You go see people you haven't seen in a while. You catch up. You walk around and you see the armies that you haven't seen before. And so you just have all these spheres of the brain are stimulated at an Age of Sigmar event, and that tactile element. Like I'm seeing like AOS Coach and Tyler Emerson and some people that are throwing themselves in Tabletop Simulator, and I'm like, awesome, man, keep your reps, keep fresh. I haven't had any interest to do it, and I'm like, I'm the grinder. What's wrong with me?
I actually tried that a while ago because it was on sale for $10. I'm like, sure, why not? And if I don't like it, it's got Cards Against Humanity, Dice Throne. It's got tons of other stuff. It was well worth the $10.
Right.
I think it's well worth $20.
Easily.
Yeah,
easily.
I played a game of it with my friend Matt Hayward, a co-host of the show, and it was good. I can't see how anybody wants to play that game competitively on there. It's not competitive. It's so beer and pretzels. You have to assume so much, even though there's tape measures and you have the rules in your heads. It's like, it's not as exact with just moving the models yourself. As weird as that is, even though it's on a computer, you think it'd be more exact. Like, I enjoyed it. I won't call it Age of Sigmar, but it was fun. It killed an evening.
Yeah, and part of my brain was like, oh well, I play Roll20 for D&D because all my friends have scattered across. So am I not finding some stopgap to play a tabletop RPG with like a digital sort of simulation? And I go like, yeah, but almost anything about like what's going on in D&D really, I truly miss the tabletop experience for that.
Mm-hmm.
But like talking to you gets across the best parts of D&D just straight up.
Oh, I do not like using miniatures for D&D or tabletop role playing games.
I don't know minis either. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all here. Yeah. Cerebral.
Yeah. Mind's eye theater. Right. Like, but like with Age of Sigmar, I do want that physical realm to be with me. Because and I do play tons of video games too. I'm like, well, then just make this an RTS and we'll go play StarCraft against each other. Where like all the math is done for it, and then we're just posturing about who's the best tactician with the best macro versus micro. Like, something's lost in translation when you put it on the tabletop simulator. And again, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but I've gone on, I think on record, it counts as on record if I've said it on Rantcast, is I think the reason that like esports and not T-sports, what Rob's doing is, that's fine, man, rock it, man, you crush it, live your life, chase your dreams, dude. But like, I don't think a digital port of this game, again, don't confuse electronic for like, an e-sport or T-sport or whatever for a digital port. You look at like Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering Arena. Those will destroy Magic the Gathering face to face.
Well, it's the whole thing too. Like, look at the Warhammer Champions card game. I was enjoying it, and they came out with the app. As soon as they came out with the app, I said the physical game's dead. A year later, physical game's dead. I don't play it anymore.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like, and here's the thing. Like, as far as like the T Sports movement, I don't want it to be tabletop simulator. I want people to figure out how to take the game we love on the tabletop
Yeah.
and stream it.
Yes.
I don't think anyone has done it properly yet. Rob is doing a great job. There's lots of streamers out there doing a fantastic job. I think no one's taking a long-term view of it. I think they're all doing short-term game view, which is what's keeping it from trying things that might not be so good.
That's weightlifting though, dude, right? Like you got to start with smaller weights to get up to the bigger weights.
Right, but you're going to eat and plan and schedule out your training with the long term in mind.
Fair enough. No, I think again, like I don't want to go on like a tangent at esports. I think that's I do think it's a worthy pursuit. I think it's on the production end. I don't think it's on the like the game itself. Like I want like the like WWE like 5 guys with the cameras circling the like table. Like I want to see that.
It's part of it is the production end on the people doing the streaming. The other part of it is on the personality end of the people playing it.
Oh, so you want the yeah, I could see that. Like knowing which tables, I guess, to stream, right? Like, instead of just like this is the feature matchup where all that matters is the 2 best armies playing. Well, yeah. I mean, that comes back to a quintessential problem with I think the digital port of this game is like I'm not so concerned about seeing who wins between Skaven and Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I understand the counter matchups, and if he's bringing this list, there's a reason we don't walk up to a tournament, compare lists, and go good game, and shake hands and walk away.
Right.
Even with like Magic the Gathering, I relish in being the underdog and beating you, but like an 80-20 matchup, I'm really going to like. They have to get really unlucky. Whereas Age of Sigmar, I don't feel like they have to get that unlucky for me to beat an inferior player.
Well, no, it's like so.
And beyond that, if I may, sorry to cut you off.
No,
beyond that, if I may, I don't need to play the game to have a great time with a great person on the other side of the table. Like, that's the part that's difficult to quantify. I think that you kind of struck on with like having the right personalities play, because it's not all about the armies. Which S tier beats which S tier. Like it really doesn't. For me, the entertainment doesn't boil down to that. It's on those like little moments of like, oh, he just snake eyes twice in a row with the rerollable charging.
Yes.
Like those like crazy hype moments where you're just like, it's so hard to like capture that with the sort of pace of the game, the way you're trying to get in all your rounds and stuff. Like in the moment, if you have the right personalities, they're high-fiving across, they're shouting. If you don't, they just go on to the next set of dice and keep rolling, right? Like it's there's so much of it that you can't like control or measure the vibe on. But just before I bury this lead completely, I don't see Tabletop Simulator or the perfect digital port ever replicating that experience, which is why I don't think we'll ever see tabletop Age of Sigmar go away, whilst I do think Magic the Gathering will eventually just kind of dissipate. Like, look at all the people playing Arena right now have lost nothing. Their decks. They've lost their decks, but, like, they haven't lost anything mechanically or experience-wise with that game. I mean, You can have a $10,000 cash pool with an online tournament right now.
Yeah, it's just like online poker. And I know you've talked about on Rantcast quite a bit about how, and so has Haywo on his channel, about how Magic is people sit down with earphones, they don't communicate, they flip cards, and they walk away. Someone won, someone lost.
Good game.
Yeah.
They're begrudged that you have to sign their slip, like, sign faster, loser. Like,
well, it's the thing too. Like, I've recorded every single game of Daughters of Cain, because that's about the time the gaming book came out that you could record games. I cannot tell you off the top of my head how many games I've won of Daughters of Cain, nor do I give a single shit about it. What I do care is that I average Kraith 2.5 times per game.
Well,
because like I said, I care about the personality and the story. I don't. If I wanted to win games, I took Hagnar to one event. I got best order, and the only game I lost is because I threw away the game because I misplayed Scorched Earth on me. Hagnar was boring. I played it through that event. I'm like, never playing this again. It's that whole thing where it's like maybe what we're trying to get at here, unintentionally, is that Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, and probably 40K would stream better if it was more like WWE.
Ooh, that's a spicy take.
Where like,
and I love it.
you embrace the army you're playing that time. People, it's already at the point where people get known for armies. Like you're
right.
You're the Nagash. So I want like you're a whole legions. I'm the Cainites, and everyone has that to a certain extent. And not while we don't all wear costumes to win awards for it, we would. I think much
easier. I feel
easier.
like that was shade at me. I'm
where is your hat? Where is your hat, sir? You said you promised us a hat.
I would have, but like I said Nova next year, not Nova this year. To be clear,
that's fair.
So yeah, wow. We'll get my hat in the works.
But listen, I think the personalities and that sort of stuff, because I don't want to tune in. Like you said, I don't. If I see a Kane on the table, like a Daughters of Kane army against whatever, I'm just going to root for the Daughters of Kane. But I'm not going to really pay attention to the game all that much, unless it's.
It's hard too. Like you have people who are experts of their army, right? Like they know their armies through and through. And like I kind of know how to beat your army because I know like the linchpin stuff. I know like your general tactics. But when I just see you lined up in formation, I don't know your freaking minutia. I don't care about like the subtle generalship thing that you just did to like seal my victory or seal your victory down the line. I know what my winning strategy is, and I'm going to stop you from trying to do anything that affects the table in this manner. And you can capture that. But like what I want to see is like the personality of the person who's like, oh, I just stepped 4 inches outside of range of you, and like like the Yu-Gi-Oh style, like like stroking the goatee and like the mustache twirling and like.
How can we combine a Yu-Gi-Oh duel with a JoJo duel?
Ooh, with the stands?
Yes.
Well, so
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of stands with the cards. Once you play it, you have your stand out there. In essence.
Mm-hmm.
But you want the crazy JoJo-ness because it's Age of Sigmar. Things can get wild.
Yeah, you want it over the top. Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to. I mean, we're talking about the personalities of the players. I think it comes down to the personality of the player, the ability to wear the hat and be the character in the moment, and then switch gears to like do the tactical great thing. And so like it's almost like the camera should be on the reactor and not the actor in those scenes. Where he I thought he was going to deep strike over here, and he just deep struck over there. Interesting, like have the character.
So we need a camera for each individual, a camera for dice.
Yeah, and like
camera
close-ups are important. Show the face. Yeah, like you got to get up in there and like show the nostrils. I want to see like the super deep like shadowed like grimace on somebody's face as they've realized they've lost a turn too late.
Ooh, and that gives us a chance to do walk-in music.
Oh, walk-in music. Well, I mean, like they did do that at CanCon, like Rob and them, and they had Randy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Randy versus Joe Pagano and stuff. And that's the only coverage that whole weekend I watched, so we know where my like.
Actually, so here's the interesting thing. Actually, let's touch on CanCon. So, I know Rob. I think he got laryngitis during it, so Vince kind of stepped up and started doing a lot of the coverage at the table, and he was the great point man. And I think he had Gemma with him, who was a decent color commentary alongside of him. Which that was the perfect. That was one of the few times where I got into every game because I enjoyed the tactical analysis Vince was giving and Gemma's color commentary. So I think if you can get that sort of dynamic going too, that'd be so great.
Well, that's another production side. Yeah. Right. Like that. I mean, that's another production side.
It's always in sports.
Yeah, I mean, look at how many. We talked about football earlier, so I'm just going with football. Like, look at how many commentators are just appalling to watch and sit through. And that's a game that's known more ubiquitously with a more clear goal than Age of Sigmar. Mm-hmm. Put the ball in the end zone or stop them from putting the ball in the end zone. And then you have Guy. What he wants to do here is he wants to put the ball in the end zone.
I would love to be the John Madden of Age of Sigmar.
I love that you got that I was Maddening right there.
Oh, yeah. Immediately.
But then you got Tony Romo, who has been a revelation, by the way, Wisconsin boy. all of Dallas hate gone because he's a great commentator, but he'll actually he'll talk about the formation. He's like, oh, so this is like an I formation. They can go this way or that way. And the defense that he's reading here, so like the football's like the guy's like in their heads, like he's supposed to be the color, and like he lays out all the like from the, and I'm like, oh, like this is so delicious, like it's like he's so good at it. I'm like, we do have some commentary like that in Age of Sigmar. I'm not downplaying anyone, but like if every commentary was like that, I think a lot more people would be into that sort of watching streams and stuff like that. Because usually it's just guy with camera, two people playing, and you don't hear any voiceover. Right, like that's usually what your average stream is.
Right now, so let's take battle reports, because I think battle reports would be a great place to start with this, because you have the post-production editing and planning out, and you figure it out all going ahead. The best battle reports I see right now, the best thing about them is the fact that they typically just cut out all the boring stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're not adding to it. They're just taking away the stuff that's boring. They're not adding to the game itself by making things more interesting during those boring times.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say they are entertaining. I don't want to make it sound like they're all boring.
That does butt heads a little bit with wanting better color commentary, though, because like some of the best. I watched CEO, by the way, and it was a Fighter Fest down in, I believe it's Florida. CEO is a big like video game console fighter tournament.
Yep.
And it ran this last year in conjunction with the AEW's promotion, and it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Well, like one of the most boring moments of the fight is like guy goes into audience, gets the joystick from Jay Wong. He's one of the most prominent fighters and all, grabs it and like, oh, that's made out of steel, and like he hits the jebaited guy is that's going to be the best way I can translate it. The jebaited guy takes it and he hits his opponent with it, and like the commentary jumps in there. I'm like, that moment is just like guy got hit with thing.
Yeah.
Like but then you have the like, oh, with the buttons, those things are metal, it's really hard, like, and you have that like, so I guess what I'm saying is like I agree, but then like I also like it's hard to quantify. Like again, if I had the puzzle, I'd be the $1 million man with the Age of Sigmar content right now. I clearly am not. I think some people are on the right track for it right now, but like I think there's a balance to this that is genius. You're right about taking away. That's what sculpture is, right? Like you have marble and you carve away and then you have a great form. Mm-hmm. But then you gotta I think because we do live in this new medium of internet and personalities on the internet and stuff, you gotta infuse that back in there.
Yeah.
Commentary for me makes or breaks basically anything that I'm consuming, because I do a lot of other stuff while the commentary is going on at all times in my life, because it's just time is precious, and so like the commentary will like draw me in, and that's what gets me watching my monetary. Mm-hmm. But I mean that's me. Everyone's got their own way. Like some people really really do want to know, does Daughters of Cain beat Gloomspite Gits on this build? Like some people really want to know that. Like, and that's why they tune into the re-rolling ones like Battle Rap or whatever, and re-rolling ones in Doom and Darkness, as far as like my limited watching of bat reps go, they do two of the best, and it's interesting because re-rolling ones has done the thing where they've really reduced it down. Yeah. They've edited it down.
That's what I was alluding to with the reduction. Yeah.
Yeah, and Doom and Darkness has started to add dice rolls back in, and they both struck like it's like Doom and Darkness adding like the feature dice rolls has been like a good thing for his, and it's like, I mean, there's no right answer. It's a long way of saying, like, I like what both of them are doing so much, but, like, I don't know that anyone solved it yet. Because I want, like...
They're trying, and thank goodness there's people out there trying to do that. Because
nobody's complacent.
Yeah, me sitting here going, this is what I want, I'm not doing a battle report, so I can't really say much other than, here's what I would like, Like, kudos to the people actually on the front lines trying that stuff.
Right, 100%, and you gotta try too. Like half the way you get anywhere is by failing the thing, right? Like,
or, having
quite literally
two podcasts where the ending cuts off and you just keep recording anyway.
Right, and then you learn to check that. Like I just the last podcast I recorded before my rig went down, so I don't have. There's two podcasts that aren't up on the podcast apps right now. One of them's on YouTube, the other one's not. So like, there's this weird gap. my audio was jacked down for my guests, so they're all like really quiet and I'm really loud, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm like 46 episodes into Rantcast and I made that rookie mistake. Like, complacency is bad. Never think that you cracked the code or you are the best, or like you've solved the puzzle, because right. The world changes. The world has changed in a dramatic way right now. And it's okay to not have the solution in capital letters, like it's okay but just keep trying. Like, that's so much more the worthier part for me. That's why I've only name dropped a couple of the content creators, but like if you're still trying, like, come on guys, like keep doing that. That's what we need right now.
Yeah. There's only so much time in a day, so it's hard to get to everything out there. So yeah, but if you're doing content of any sort, just keep doing it, because like you said, I started writing my blog. It was terrible. Now it's mediocre, and it's I haven't done much with it, but like podcast, it's terrible right now. It's gonna get mediocre, and I'm happy with mediocre. We'll keep that nice median, but it'll get better just by doing it, because I'll be like, oh, I'll just do this. I'll put a flag up so people don't yell at me for my rafters.
Right. Well, now we're getting into weird territory where like how much should you listen to your audience and how much should you stick to your vision, right? And I can solve this for you, everybody in the audience right now, every writer, film producer, any artist out there. You listen to your audience on things you don't give a shit about, because they seem to care about it, and the things you care about, hold the line. Like, that's the secret. That's the secret. Like, I'm sorry. So like, you probably didn't care that you were shooting in a basement, but your audience like ribbing you on it. So like, it doesn't matter if the American flag changes, or I've got my sweet wall scrolls, and down the line it's gonna be some animu, some weeb stuff. Like, it's. I mean, that's the thing. So there you go. That problem solved. But coming back to like just trying, I've got a small confession. The thing I've been struggling with, I was going to go on Rantcast this last week before I didn't have internet and I had to do blah blah blah. Things happened. I was going to go on Rantcast and be like, I have a confession. Like, I haven't been coping as well as I've portrayed on the internet, and like, I feel disingenuous. I've never felt like I've ever been dishonest or not represented myself, except for like during this time, because you're kind of like at wit's end now. I hit that early. Like, I personally hit that early, and it's life stuff too, but then like I said, there's this modifier of like this crazy world thing going on. I hit that early, and I'm like, I can't tell people I'm not doing okay right now, because what about the person who's doing like all right, but my voice suddenly like is the one that they hear, and I don't have like some big ego that I'm like some huge dude, but like, if two people listen to me and I can make their day better or worse, I'd rather make their day better.
Well, see, I think the thing is, though, from my own experiences, you can still make people's day better, even just by being honest and saying, I'm having a rough time, but you go get it. Just because you're having a rough day doesn't mean it has to pass on to other people. It's like, hey, I need you to maybe cheer me up now, because that's kind of the back and forth is, like, I was kind of down today, and like, not down, but like frustrated. Like, rarely do I get frustrated with things, and like, oh, people reached out like, hey, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. It's just weird, because normal, like, it's the realization setting in that normal is no longer normal, and we don't know what the new normal is right now, whether it's for real life, whether it's for wargaming, whether like anything. It's
I mean, this is such a loaded term, but it is the right term. Like, it's so correct. Like, we don't know what the new normal is. 100%. Continue.
Yeah, so quick PSA, and sure, you can call it opinion if you want. If anyone is like, I can't wait for things to get back to normal, you need to smack them, because normal is not normal. Normal is what made this all happen. So whatever you think normal is going to change in some way, because it needs to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now let's get to tinfoil hats, and we'll start talking about 5G causing corona. We'll get the
Yeah. Oh, dude, are we a true crime conspiracy podcast now?
Oh, we can go deep. We can go deep.
I have such the takes. So like,
real
man,
quick, describe your stance. Describe your stance on general conspiracy theories. Where are you at? How woke are you? Mr.
I
Meth.
think most conspiracies are full of shit, but I love where their heart is. Think for yourself, question authority. But the thing is like, think for yourself doesn't mean go on the internet and find the first opinion that kind of makes you go, oh. You gotta find some pushback to your own opinion, and somewhere in there you're gonna distill a truth.
Yep, you always. Yep, I agree with you. You gotta make your own opinion. You gotta look at everything. You gotta realize that no one's gonna be telling you the truth because that's just what it is nowadays.
Especially critical of people who agree with you. I mean, that's where I like people who agree with me are the people that I like. All right. So
hold on. I just want you to know I agree with that point.
I don't know if I go. How far do I go? Okay, so like anti-vaxxers are the fucking worst. Sorry, I'm gonna go on record. Radcast opinion 2020. You're the worst, and you're currently living in a world where your shit that you dished out to the world was just served up on a platter and handed back to you. So congratulations, fuck you. You took one erroneous fucking essay from a guy trying to sell a competing vaccine.
Yes.
And because it kind of slightly jived with your idea of crystals and fucking bubble water, you were like, that's it. And I hate Big Pharma. I'm like, I hate Big Pharma too.
Everyone hates Big Pharma.
But you can't just go again, be leery of the first thing that agrees with you, man. They're usually the ones that they're selling you the thing that's too good to be true. Mm-hmm. Like sports bubbles. And Russell Wilson, and screw the Seahawks. And to bring it back. Love you, Jack, for re-rolling ones. Hope you're listening, buddy.
I hope so, too, because that makes 3 listeners then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your parents and then Jack.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
One day I'll get my wife to listen, get that extra click.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, I just... I love conspiracy theories because I think that there is an exercise of critical thought, but part of the importance of critical thought is that you don't lock down an opinion. Opinions are fluid.
Yes.
Right? It's opinions are like clothes. When it doesn't suit you anymore, you should change it. Mm-hmm. And when doesn't it suit you anymore? When you gain additional perspectives and information. I'm not right about everything. I'm right about how awesome Nagash is, but I'm not right about everything. And sometimes 2 things are going to happen in conversation. I'm going to refine my stance because you're going to come up against my opinion and be like, this is my opinion. I'm going to be like, not worthy. Or I'm going to find out that my opinion is not worthy because I can't hold up to the scrutiny of your opinion. And then we're going to have a great conversation. And I don't have to worry about if my opinion is wrong, everything falls apart around me. That's the beauty of opinions. Again, they're closed. I just changed them. I just changed my opinion. I don't, like Final Fantasy VII and remake going on right now. I remembered that it was my favorite game again. But if you talked to me 5 years ago, Andrew, you said your favorite RPG was Shadow Hearts, a weird RPG by Midway on PlayStation 2. And that your favorite game was The Last of Us. And I'm like, you're right. But then there, some new information has come to light, man. I like having opinions more than I like being correct about my opinions. I like to think about stuff. And so again, I love conspiracy theories. I eat them up.
Yes.
But they're like fast food. You gotta maybe you don't need
everything in balance. And here's the interesting thing that I discovered too. Did you know the term conspiracy theory was coined by the CIA to help throw people off the trail of what a conspiracy theory is?
I didn't know that, but I'm gonna go look it up later because you might be full of shit.
I'll send you stuff. So you have to be skeptical. You have to do this, but you also have to realize that sometimes Epstein didn't kill himself. Sometimes you have to be like, that's a real one.
There's stuff that's way more obvious. It's so blatantly obvious. Well, that one's not even a conspiracy theory. It's just is water wet? And you just go, yeah, obviously the dude didn't kill himself.
Oh man, how, let's go deep. I want to go.
We're conspiracy theory tinfoil hat.
We're so.
If you tuned in for AOS, sorry. True crime now.
I can feel that. I can feel that we're we're both feeling each other out because we both want to go deeper into like weird things. Because
You don't want to alienate. You don't want to alienate someone. Speaking of alienating, aliens, real or not? Ooh, load. Yeah, okay. Look at this.
I want to say because it's the thing is like, if you want to take the Fermi paradox where.
Oh, I'm so happy you brought up the Fermi paradox. Where are they?
What's that?
Right?
Where are they? But also at the same time, it's like we're assuming that they're in the same dimension as us, the space-time dimension. What if they're one higher? What if they're one lower? What if it is the whole thing where like they're just like they haven't seen us because we're technically just a planet full of apes and we just made a few nuclear explosions, and to them that's nothing. So like nothing that they care about seeing is here yet, and they're just ignoring us. Or what if they are here and there's a big conspiracy and blah blah blah? Or what if we are the aliens?
What if we're the Gary, Indiana of the multiverse?
Oh. What? That's the worst state in the. It's in the world, yeah. Technically, yeah, it's the worst state in the world.
Yeah, no, we have maps to prove it. Ask the Detroit guys. No, like, what if we're we already have mathematically speaking, we're relatively remote as far as galaxies go compared to other ones because we just do comparative math. Like, so what if we're it's kind of out of your way, but if you got to stop to get gas, like. God damn it!
Well, I mean, here's the thing:
stay in the UFO. Don't get out. Don't talk to the locals. We're refueling.
Yes, yeah. Roll
and
up.
We know how to convert soul stuff into faster than light travel because we're crazy.
It's the thing. Like, in what is life? Like, that's such a hard one too, because it's like I know for certain that there's other life forms out there, 100%.
Single cell organisms are bound to exist in the infinite of the universe.
I think there could be multiple complex, but doesn't like we always assume that aliens are like this amazing being that's smarter than us and can come and solve all of our problems. What if we're the smartest ones in the galaxy right now somehow?
Or just here's a thought: what if there's just other planets of the same idiots blowing each other up?
Hey, exactly.
What if they're going through their Brovid-19 virus right now instead of COVID? Like, you don't know. I think it's a fun question. Brovid, that's right. They're just flexing. Instead of coughing, they have to flex,
traffic jams. Complete standstill society.
If you lock eyes with another alien, you must flex on them. That's what the symptoms are of Brovid-19.
Oh God!
He's driving the car. I think it's I've been getting really into Carl Jung or Jung, if you want to mispronounce his name, lately. Because I've talked about it on Rantcast. I have night terrors, I have sleep paralysis, the whole nine. Sleeping for me is often like torture, so I just abuse my lack of sleep to write awesome fiction and horror and stuff. Part of the reason I love it.
So you're an artist, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm a tortured artist. There's a lot, collective unconscious, even we were talking about introvert extrovert, those archetypes are Jungian. That's the Jungian archetypes. But one thing he was kind of also big about was essentially the darker half or the shadow self. And so I've been really thinking about that lately because I have these nightmares that are very often a physical embodiment of some sort of shadow or monstrosity made out of darkness. And I'm going it's not meant to be taken literally, but man, can I not take this stuff literally right now while I'm pinned to my bed, unable to move. And then I wake up and then I do research and think it's pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. So I find there's this, I've been into Jung lately a lot. And but one of the big things is his collective unconscious. And it's the collective unconscious doesn't need to be mystical. It need not be mystical, by the way. It can just be we're really good at reading body language off of other humans. This is part of what's missing in Age of Sigmar on the internet.
Yep, that's what humans are built for.
Yep, you don't get the body language. You don't get to see when someone's like arms and when his eyes have checked out. So you switch gears on telling them about your Teyrathi, and you tell them about like the rules or whatever, and you gauge their persona and what they're picking up on.
You think people getting disgruntled about me talking about Teyrathi?
Fair enough. But no, like, I mean, it can be just stuff like But like, for instance, injecting cleaners into your body. The average person really doesn't think that injecting bleach is going to do stuff, but you can't say that on a collective sense that has changed the way we're going to see the world for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like every time you're going to see Lysol, you're like, Lysol, like, or whatever it is. You know, like,
whenever kids are eating Tide Pods.
Yeah, Tide Pods. Like you're just like, so like, again, the unconscious doesn't need to be mystical or even so unconscious, because a lot of the sort of like signals we send each other, they're very real things. You know, this is the magic sophisticatedly science sophisticatedly advanced would appear as magic to primitive cultures, right? Like the classic lighter thing, or this is my boomstick from Ash from Evil Dead. Like it doesn't need to be magical to be awesome. Like, and I guess that's and so like I've been thinking a lot about like how my behavior affects others and how other behaviors, and I don't know how aliens led to this, but we'll get to it now. What if they're more of a, like, I don't know, like who knows where we're at in the heat death of the universe? We have math to suggest, like, what if we're like the other aliens already had their parties and stuff? I'm not saying they built their pyramids. That's kind of lazy too. Like, but what if, you know, they're just like you kind of alluded to, on a different perceptive level that we haven't connected with yet.
Yeah.
Like, and
are you saying we should get some DMT? Should we go full Joe Rogan on this podcast?
I don't need to. I like insomnia. I had a friend. He's like, dude, all the stuff you're talking about right now, you must have smoked or you must have done some shrooms or something. I'm like, nope, just insomnia, dude, and an overactive imagination from an overstimulated childhood. Like, like, woo, the real high right there.
I guess the thing is. Oh, sorry. Continue, please.
No. I just think to think that we have one thing pinned down is, I mean, quite honestly, it's kind of arrogant to me. I don't. Again, I'm not saying like, hell yeah, aliens, man, and they totally abducted your grandpa. I'm just saying like I'd be open to it. You know, like there's more to the reality than what we perceive, because we already know on a sort of like direct level that there's more to our interactions on a you know, what we think as imperceptible. It's just body language. You know, there's already things that happen in a very normal sense that sculpt reality. Like, it doesn't need to be paranormal, it just needs to be outside the scope of things we've studied. You talked about life before. We did not have a definition of life as a humankind. We didn't know what life was in a scientific sense for a little bit. So then we're like, well, is it a heartbeat? Oh no, now we think it's brain. Like, we had to refine what we think life means. We're still fucking arguing about it right now.
Yep.
Like, we didn't have like even a scientific definition, let alone a spiritual definition of life for a long time. Like, consciousness right now is one of those ones that's being studied by neuroscientists abroad. Like, because we're on the cusp of AI, we need to figure out what it means to be conscious before we make a robot that fires. Our brains are way more like robots than we realize. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to have a definition of what it means to be conscious before we go all bicentennial man, yo. Like,
right.
This is Robin Williams riff for those of you on the deep cuts. So we're still. I guess what I'm saying is, like, just to bring it all the way back, is like, I'm not so in love with my own opinions that I'm not open to like just having a little bit of fun and thinking about stuff.
Oh yeah, it's like you said, it's like the fast food. Like it's good too, because after a certain point, it's okay. There's a lot of coincidences going on here, so that's probably not right. And then some things you start leaning to are like, okay, this could be true. You don't know. You're never gonna fully know unless someone finds the proof and puts it out there. But there's nothing wrong with looking at the stuff and making you question yourself. Like, have your own opinions on it, and if someone gives you the proof, then yeah, like feel free to change your opinion. It's quite all right. It's not going to hurt anything. Like
Yeah.
Sigmar. I was like, man, Sigmar, such a great guy, doing all this sort of stuff, and then like as the story evolved, Sigmar, why would you follow him?
Well, I mean, now we just jumped from like reality to the games, so I'm all about it. Like you jump from something that's like we don't have a good total 100% understanding of what's going on in reality, so let's go to something totally made up.
Where we can have hard, fast opinions that won't hurt anybody's feelings.
Right. No, the thing about like Sigmar that makes it really awesome is that it's kind of like every tome is propaganda.
Oh yeah,
like every battle tome is like, and it just like I feel like it plucks at those strings that like you don't even know you quite have as like somebody who's like you're a nerd or even a normie, like you don't even realize this thing's gonna resonate with you, and you're like, oh hell yeah, like Sigmar lightning gods, like Norse mythology, like whatever it is that jumps out at you in those moments resonate.
Well, that's
Death Proxy armies.
That's sort of back to 8th Ed fantasy. So if you look at like the High Elf and the Wood Elf book, we're just going to use elves because that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
They're very much like, here's what's going on, here's our viewpoint, here's this, lay it out, blah blah blah, history, story, characters, all that sort of stuff. And then you get the Dark Elf book, and it was like, we're Dark Elves, you're with us, get in this car, we're going rolling right now. It was like the first book.
Like the Blues Brothers?
Yeah.
Like
It was the first battle tome to do that, and it was just like, I have feelings. I don't know what they are yet, but they're feelings, and I like them. And I think Age of Sigmar took that to the next level, where every single one is like that. Like I don't read all the battle tomes because I've read the Kane battle tome. I know what's right in my heart.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, like that's why death is. I don't want to say the good guys, but they're the protagonists. Like if you don't have free will, chaos can't corrupt you, and then like, yay, we win, right?
Boom,
it's
done,
like
easy.
Fixed, solve the world's problems. I love that Age of Sigmar does that, and like you said, that started in 8th edition. I don't know, like it's this is something that fascinates me to this day, is like what makes people gravitate towards certain armies. Because like I internalize everything. I know why I gravitate towards the death armies. Because goth phase, but how many people had goth phase and they went totally corn instead, right? Like, I find that fascinating. You don't strike me as a Cainite. Like I would. I'd get it.
No, it's. And, I've mentioned it before loosely, but like, and I'd love to hear like maybe where death kicked in for you fully. So I was a High Elf player. I have 13,000 points of 8th Ed High Elves. I loved them. That's all I played. Chukari, or not Chukari. That's 40k. Sorry, just sold that army by the way. All right, gonna turn that into more Daughters of Cain. Jerichi were the enemy. They were wrong. Despise them. Wood Elves, they're aloof. They're over there. Just they are what they are. We'll fight with them if we need to. That's kind of how it was. I'm like High Elf all the way. Then the end times happened, and then it was just like, man, Teclis, what are you doing? And then Imric, whenever he slayed the Alariel's #1 handmaiden, broke my heart was breaking during End Times Cain. And then when literally when Malekith stepped into the flame, I turned the page, and Malekith was the true Phoenix King, and it was a picture of him walking into the Phoenix Flame. I put the book down. I was just reading it, like just in the bedroom, and I walked away. And I was just like, world crumbled. Like everything that I had known and believed up to that point within this fantasy universe, which really doesn't affect me personally. Like there's a small part of me that's like, all right, here's my fandom. Was so shaken I couldn't read that book for like another day or two. My wife, she's like, what's wrong? And I was just like, Malekith was a true Phoenix King all along, and she knows the lore, and she's just like, it's gonna be okay. and then like I said, it was, I started realizing that, and then Age of Sigmar came out, and all that sort of stuff got put on hold, and like I knew about the elves, and like, okay, but all the elves are together. Malekith, like I'll put myself behind Malekith during the rest of the end times, made a unified elf force, and then I played Stormcast, for years, for the first year of Age of Sigmar until Daughters of Cain came out, which I jumped on to them right before. Then I picked up their book because I was gonna play them at Adepticon. Then the book dropped, and it was just all like a lot of serendipity happening. And I read the book, and I was just like, this is everything I've ever wanted. because it's like the aggression and feralness and like blind devotion like was just unleashed, having it be all pent up and having to be that high elf for so long that like, you know, die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's like sort of a dark resonance there where like you do like you know like you strike me as like I'm sorry dude, you're a good guy, I know you don't want to hear it, but like you're a good person, I know
I'm a bad guy.
But like at some point you meet someone who's so good, you're like, you're either a serial killer or I don't know how to compute. And so like, do you like, to me, like, there's a sort of like, I'm like, okay, he's got some stuff. But do you think like Daughters of Cain are like your dark outlet, or is that like
not a dark outlet? Let's just say that even though my personality may not match what a Daughters of Cain is, but think about it as they are. They're a strong matriarchal force. They're fierce. Yeah, they take it to that extreme bloodthirsty level because it's fantasy.
Well, everything does.
Right,
everything does anyways.
But if I look at, it's going to get really, really interesting. If you look at what the High Elf represented, like that princess in a tower type thing, that was the type of girl I dated in high school. But if you look at my wife, I married a Daughter of Cain. She's strong. She's independent. She, like, and listen, you guys are all great. Like, you've spent a lot of time here, like, you know, boosting up my ego, all that. I'll walk upstairs and she'll just be like, boop, right back down you go, because she loves me. Like, she helps keep me balanced. But like, I wonder if something like that has to do with it, or like.
I think so. Like
I'd rather have like, and I. Sorry, go on. Like, I have a lot of friends before like the Warhammer friends started kicking in. Started that, but like my core group of friends that aren't Warhammer friends, the ones that I literally won the Warhammer Hero Award. I told them, and they were just like, "Okay, what's that?" I was like, probably one of the most important awards of my life. Like, congratulations! What are we having for dinner? Like, but the thing is, like, I'm friends with a lot of very strong females. That's kind of what I had.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but like,
I think it's cool. It's like, so what you've just described to me, if I step away from Warhammer, is the difference between like young love and mature love.
yes, 100%. Yep, you nailed that.
Yeah, no, I think it's. I mean, what's crazy? Like, why am I still stuck on death? Well, I know because I never let shit go. But hey, there we are. No, if I may, for me, one of the things I loved about Nagash was he was kind of a. I don't want to say he was an underdog because he was like clergy and stuff like that, but like humans weren't supposed to have magic, and he's like, no, taking magic. Like, screw you. I want magic. And I'm like, I want magic too. The world is boring. So he just like, he takes magic when he's not supposed to. He unlocks the secrets of immortality. Like, his very demise spawns an entire army book. The fact that he dies and Tomb Kings existed, because like all the necrotic energy was just pent up and like, boom, now you have Tomb King. It's like, for me, it was like, this awesome dude, and I missed the end times. So I missed a lot of that stuff. By the time, like, I was playing Warhammer Fantasy, you had the clown model, obviously, and then I wasn't allowed to play him. Vampire Counts came out, Tomb Kings was down the line, and then like I caught back up in Age of Sigmar. I'm like, wait, he like totally was like a badass death god, and then he came back and like he ate all the other death gods, and like he just kept continuing to prove his premise. I thought there was something cool to like the whole like a human who wasn't okay with the status quo and wanted to be bigger and better and never satisfied. I like that resonated with me on like an angsty teenager level, and then by the time I got older, my own personal fears of mortality struck me. I realized like one of the reasons I hate sleeping is because I think it's a free trial for death. Like it's just like you're nothing for a little bit and then you wake up and you're like, did I like that or not? Like I don't. So like an army that mocks death by being undeath. Just like, hell yeah. Plus, Castlevania is like one of my top 5 favorite games of all time. Specifically, Symphony of the Night. But
you're perfectly fine. That's a great game.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how I could get in "What is a man" quote, but I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, miserable pile of secrets.
But it's not. What,
I mean, that's Dracula. I know you want him to be Vlad von Karstein. Dracula is freaking Nagash, man.
Oh, yeah,
in the Castlevania series,
Manfred is. Or Vlad is great, but Vlad, no, yeah, I agree.
But like Dracula in the Castlevania games is Nagash. He kind of gets foiled. He comes back. Like there's sort of a tragic line to him. Like one of my favorite stories is actually like a Sigmar story where like Sigmar is like, we were friends once, you know, like, and they like he actually like Sigmar remembers a time when him and Nagash were friends, and I think it's implied that it was in the Age of Myth where they're just like high-fiving and taking back the realms from like primordial nothingness.
Yeah.
And like, okay, you go be the death god. Like it strikes very like Hades and Zeus to me. You know, like where Hades is like begrudgingly the death god, but he takes his job very seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, don't fuck with the flow of souls. Don't come into my realm, and like you rule the heavens, man. But like, really? Just because I'm your younger brother, you're going to give me the underworld and not the like. So there's that little bit of animosity, even though he loves his job. So there's this like, and then on the other side of it, it's like you hear that Nagash barely remembers like the world that was, and stuff. Right. So you're like, wait a second, and all throughout the tomes, it talks about how like Nagash feels like the great betrayal, the soul thief, and like. They never really say what the betrayal is. I assume it was like that Sigmar was siphoning off souls, but they never say it.
That's what you feel it is.
That's what you're led to believe it is, but like it might be something more basic and human, because that's what Nagash is all about. Is like, for as much as he tries to strive to just be this like heavy metal death god, his humanity haunts him. Like it continues to come back. That's why he fails, because he can't get rid of his humanity, because he's not, at the very, very end of the day, I don't think he's like why do Ossier Bone Reapers have a modicum of sentience now. Like he's actually allowed some dead to walk the earth that have free will, and that's like not a Nagash thing, but he's like, that's a necessary evil. And it's like you just see his like humanity like always like flitting around the character, even though he barely remembers the world that was, and he barely
it's that fly that even he can't see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. It's just poking and atting him, but he doesn't know what. Like, go away, but it won't.
Yeah, and it keeps coming in, and I find that very, very human. I find that very, like, characterful. Like, he's not the like eat rocks and shit gunpowder, infallible, win all the time that Archeon kind of is. Like, right. You know, like Archeon would beat you if you didn't outnumber him this one time, or if you weren't looking over there winning too hard. Like Nagash.
It's interesting. We're going to go a quick side tangent here down this rabbit hole. I like that Archeon is infallible, more or less, because it makes the fact that he's not worshipping, but like he is the champion of 4 gods who, no matter what happens, will always screw stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
That he's the only thing that is always the constant. Like, he will not fail, but he will ultimately always fail, because they will always fail because they bicker.
That's a sweet take I've never heard before, by the way.
I that's why I like him as he is. Like, he is the only thing in chaos that's not chaos. He is the most he's the least chaotic thing in the entire Mortal Realms, from what I've seen. He doesn't go he doesn't go off and do stuff because someone farted, so I should go over here and sack the city. Like he's like, I have a plan. This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna go here. He's like, he found Slanesh in the Wrath of the Everchosen book, but he's like, now's not the time because I have to go take care of this. And he's the most responsible, least chaos person in the whole chaos faction. And they need.
Well, there's a little dichotomy there. That's a pretty cool dichotomy there too. I just want him to, as a narrator, I want him to have consequences for his actions. Is like the only thing, because like tension in a story. But when you think about him as like the movie Twister, and he is the F5 tornado, That makes him way cooler.
Well, if did you read any of the Realm Gate Wars books?
I don't read Black Library books.
I meant the campaign books specifically. That's where the lore was at.
No, I'm sorry, man.
So no, it's quite alright. There were a lot of like 40K. There's a lot of like bolter porn. This was just hammer porn, just fighting, and like not a whole lot happened. But in one of them's wow. At some point, Archaon shows up to fight, or maybe this was later, but regardless, he fights Vandus Hammerhand, and Vandus goes up against him, and Vandus is just like, I'm here, I'm Sigmar's champion, I'm gonna fight you, and blah blah blah, and Archaon's just like, he's like, what's your name? And he's like, I'm Sigmar's champion. It's like, what's your name? Like, he is tired, which is always the best type of character trait to give somebody.
Oh, bored kingly is like, I mean, that's the, you're going back to Dracula.
He's not bored. He's not bored kingly. He's just tired. He's just like, why? Like, it's almost as if he regrets blowing up the old world because there was more respect in that one. You know what I mean?
People knew who I was. No, I guess that's the difference. Is like I dig the bored king versus the like the like tired king. Like I like the what is a man, a miserable pile of secrets, and he's on his throne and he's like kind of leaning off to the side and he's swirling the wine because he just can't be bothered by humanity. I like that. Archaon's a little too like active but tired.
Yeah. It's like I want to hear him interact with the 4 Chaos Gods. I would love, like, at the same time, I want to hear them like bicker and fight and like throw shade at each other, and he's just sitting there like.
Like that, I do feel that. So what he does for me is he's like a hypocrite because he'll like totally use their power, but he spurns all gods.
Yeah.
Like he hates gods and he hates goddom and he hates the whole thing. It's like, but you're more than okay with like using it, man. Well, like, I mean, walk the walk, man. Like you can't have the cake and eat it too. Like, are you gonna like?
Well, I mean, you're gonna like this because of a certain video game, which won't be named to avoid spoilers. But he got so wrapped up in, if you read, he was Dietrich Kastner, his old story, where he was a devoted of Sigmar, and then he found the book that like spelled his downfall, that he was the one that was going to become the Everchosen and all this, and like he could not escape fate no matter what he tried. The more he tried to escape it, the more it happened. It was kind of something that's her downfall. So that's why he hates the gods, and he wants to kill. He wants to go against fate, but he can't. So right now he's just like, okay, well, I'm going to use this power and become more powerful to do away with all of them. I get the strong feeling that if he was able to kill all the gods, the last thing he would do would be then kill himself. He's like, I'm not the last god, and I'm gone.
A little bit of the Thanos thing where like he's like, now I can like destroy my own power and go sit on the like farm planet and like look at the sunset forever.
Yeah, pretty much. I get that. That's the type of person he was, but it's interesting. I think he's a much more interesting character.
There is a joy in blindly hating things in Age of Sigmar, and especially again, this goes back to fandom.
Whoa!
Sorry. Hey.
Okay.
No, there's a joy in like kind of like hating stuff, just like to have fun with it.
Yeah.
But like when it gets right down to it, like I don't like that you're making me think about Archaon as like kind of cool, kind of dope. Because I always liked his like spurning the gods thing, and like it reminded me of like Final Fantasy Tactics. If you've ever played it, where like Ramza is like, you're all idiots. Why is everyone an idiot? Like the whole time. And then, like, of course, he like goes on. He just fights everybody.
Right.
Like all that matters. And he's got that humanizing element that I think is lacking in Archaon, which is I think important as a narrative. But again, if you make Archaon the tornado, then it's fine. Like you don't need to humanize the tornado.
Right.
Maybe that's what they're trying to do. But like Ramza is just like his humanizing element is that like he wants to save Alma and his sister, and he like still wants to have friendships and stuff. Like he's still very human whilst being jaded and hating everything. And so like that's why Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the best Final Fantasies. But I could do that for basically every Final Fantasy.
Yeah, although you're not wrong. Tactics was amazing.
I don't... You know how you reconcile what's going on in your brain right now? You know how you reconcile this. Don't say it's a true Final Fantasy and you can still say 8's your favorite. Which is what I do for Tactics and 7. Because then I'd have to think about it. I'd be like, it doesn't have a number, It's not a true Final Fantasy.
Well, it's just like you can technically say the Final Fantasy VII original is still your favorite game. Because I mean, technically, technically remake. I don't know if you want to call it the same game. Oh, you're muted. You are muted, sir. You're muted. Are you there? Oh no. We may have lost Mr. Meth. I can see his beautiful face, but I can't hear him at all. Hold on. We'll try ending the call real quick. Call you right back.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, that take was way too spicy for the internet, so I'm going to double down on it. I have complicated feelings when it comes to Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII, the remake.
Okay, hold on. Let's do something. You've beaten the remake, correct?
No. All the moving and all the fiascos happened.
Where are you up to?
I beat the first sweet ass motorcycle boss. I'm in the second reactor right now. I did a bunch. Yeah, I just did Jesse's awesome side quest, and I'm like, why do you do this to me, game? Why are you doing this to me? I know what happens, game. Why?
So here's where we're gonna go right now.
Yeah.
We're not gonna talk anymore about that game. You need to go beat that game.
All right. But allow me.
Yes, but please.
This doesn't ruin my opinion. So early on, when I heard remake was coming out, first I got excited. I'm like, oh, cool, they're remaking a thing I like, right? I think that's a natural. Hey, a thing I liked. But then I got really paranoid because I started to think, what if they're not making it for me, an existing fan? They're making it for new fans. And it wasn't like a hipster thing where don't you dare like my thing I love. That wasn't the take. It was just well, what if they just make something else and it's just not for me? I'm like, because the first game was so for me. Things that I love about storytelling. The bad guy at the beginning is the bad guy at the end, with some great twists, right?
Yeah.
There's some good twists with Nova and the meteor and some subplots. But when it gets right down to it, the reader goes, Sephiroth is bad. At the end of the game, you go, Sephiroth is bad. But then you throughout the whole time, you're like, oh, Cloud's a dickhead mercenary is good. It does this whole thing. Cloud has one of the greatest character arcs of all time. He just dickhead mercenary literally rebuilds himself, finding out his whole world is a goddamn lie, but that doesn't matter. But that doesn't matter because what matters is right now and what I'm going to do about it. It's just he's such he's such a badass. All those things I loved about the game. I'm like, what if they just they make it a weird Final Fantasy Lightning Returns sort of spectacle, and there's really no soul to it. They're really obsessed with how Final Fantasy, I think it was 15, was really obsessed with their combat engine, but the story got really thin really fast. I'm like, what if all these things are a problem? But then I played the Final Fantasy VII remake, and they're like, oh, dude, remember how you were complaining about not having turn-based combat? You can totally have it if you want. Just turn it on, dude. And I'm like, you get me in here. And then I didn't turn that shit on, and I was totally Dante from Devil May Cry, just fucking shit up with the Buster Sword.
Oh, heck yeah,
amazing.
So
and what had happened was I realized that fans had made the remake not for fans one way or another. People who love that original game made that game, not some soulless corporation looking for some money. That's in there too. Don't get me wrong, mercenary mode and stuff like that. It's yeah, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Whatever. Make a buck. You're allowed to make money. I'm not angry that you're trying to make money off of a game that took you 20 years to redevelop. Okay, that's not the read.
Good news. The next installment's already well into development. They've released.
Shoot it into my veins like Lysol. I just need it.
The more you play the game, the more you see that there's a lot of stuff that's set up to build further. So you're just they're already planned ahead. So very nicely done. Oh no, you're silent again. We've lost you again. These hot takes. Hold on, calling you right back. You need
We
to,
good?
yeah, you need to stop these hot takes. Probably means
Yeah,
we're
the internet's on fire.
It is.
I don't want to ruin anyone's experience, but they have incorporated some awesome plotting earlier that was necessary. Not like there's some stuff that's like a little ham-fisted because of course you want to show Sephiroth early, but like there's some of it that like the Jesse plot didn't make me upset because the whole time I already like loved that character and I'm like, stop making me love her more. God, like that game, it's. I had played Final Fantasy VII a year ago on my Twitch stream just playing through the old Final Fantasy VII. When I played the remake demo, not even the full version I've been jamming out to now, which has some key components cut out.
Right.
I was like, this doesn't remind me of the last time I played Final Fantasy VII. It reminds me of the first time.
Yes.
I don't have any higher compliment. I have no higher compliment for that game.
All right, I need to bring you in real close here. All right, we're gonna get real ASMR on this.
Yeah.
You need to go beat that game as soon as possible before things get spoiled for you because oh my god! And I want to hear all of these takes after you beat this game.
It's so good so far.
It's amazing all the way through. It's amazing all the way through, and you are not prepared.
My body is not ready. Oh no, my body is often ready. I don't know if I can handle such amazing. Gosh, yeah, you're right. I'm just gonna go beat it as soon as I'm on the first of the month. I will be completely out of the previous place, and then I will have my time back.
Right.
Conceivably, I'll have the components to fix my computer back, and I will go back to crushing it.
At least you need to avoid the internet. You need to beat this game before.
Got that on lockdown.
Yeah, I cannot emphasize that enough, and I cannot wait to have another chat with you afterwards. We'll do a full spoiler chat, whether it's on your show, my show, or just having beers off of anyone's show. You're just not ready, and boy, can I see in your eyes the innocence I had. just days ago.
Like could they have made like I know this is like super like how old was I when I played the game? Probably like 12 or something like that. I'm 35, so do some math. I don't know. Whenever I played that game the first time, I remember feeling a genuine conflict of personalities and like really like, oh man, Tifa's awesome. She's the original love. Hey, and like those little like such childish thoughts on the game, and like kind of some of that stuff's come back. And I looked over at Lulu and I'm like, well, I want you to know, we wouldn't be together right now if it weren't for Tifa. Like, because you would totally be Tifa, in my party.
There you go.
But like, yeah, I just display myself as I saw the Tifa versus Aerith versus Jessie because Jessie is
Jesse's
there's a new
contender.
Already awesome. She was already awesome, and they made her into Tali from Mass Effect 1 and 2. Did
you when you just did the
you
mission,
meet her parents and then you bust in and you
did you complete the motorcycle section with above 80% health on everybody?
No.
Oh, you should.
I hate you so much.
I mean,
no,
okay,
I barely got through the first motorcycle section.
Okay, so this is non-spoiler. When you beat the game, it opens up chapter select with where you're at as far as level and skill. You keep all that chapter select, so you can go back and do all that stuff that you missed. So don't fear about any of that, but go beat that game right now.
Enjoy the story.
Enjoy the story. Go back and perfection later. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking a week off. I'll go back and I'll get what I've missed.
So you know what's going on right now, this riffing? I'm going to start a new Rantcast segment. I'm going to call it Mephisto Hates Things. And it's going to be this, except not how much I love something. It's going to be about, like, completely not related to gaming things. The reason I bring it up is the Pepsi ASMR commercial is one of the things I hate the most in the world right now. I don't know if you've heard this.
No, okay, so I don't have any TV. The only input
Radio. It's the radio.
Oh, it's on radio? Actually,
So
I've been driving,
truck.
so yeah, okay. I've not been driving, so I don't know it.
Yeah, I'm in a work truck all day long. It comes on a few times throughout the day if I'm not listening to a podcast or if I finish my podcast. With 100% assurance, if I just finish a podcast episode, it'll click over to the radio and that commercial will be playing.
Okay.
And it's like, hi, I'm ASMR guy. I'm going to try this new Pepsi. And I'm just like, I hate everything about this so much. I'm going to go start a new segment on my podcast. Like, it's just, I've never hated something with this much righteous indignation for no reason. By the way, keep in mind, like, if you do ASMR streams and stuff, like, there's some like really weird studies. It does nothing for me because I'm kind of a robot when it comes to that. Did I cut out again?
No, you're fine. It's ASMR.
Okay.
So I have a weird thing of ASMR. So like, it's like the people getting the haircuts or people talking softly to you. I'm like, this is weird. I don't like this. Please stop. I enjoy getting my haircut, but I enjoy me getting my haircut, not pretending I am. But you put on India barbershop massages, like Baba the Cosmic Barber. You put those on, I'm in, buddy. I don't know why. Those relax me. They make me feel so good. I love them. Yeah,
nothing. No, so I need to be clear here with Tom Lyons levels of perfect clarity. I'm not shitting on ASMR. Just to be clear, to be perfectly clear, I'm not shitting on ASMR, and I'm not shitting on you if you like ASMR. I'm shitting on that commercial specifically because nothing could miss the point harder.
Of ASMR.
Yeah, and like it's just like you are doing the shill thing. You have like a fake YouTube or Twitch streamer come on with this fake authenticity where his roommate comes in, and I'm just like, I hate everything about this. It's like I hate this so much. But like I myself, like I don't. I'm never gonna yuck someone's yum, man. Like if ASMR helps you fall asleep at night, like just listen. Listen to all the.
I wish I could understand it. Like I said, it's weird. Like I'm very selective. Like it's just that one like small subsection I enjoy watching to help relax my whole body. I don't know. It's weird. How can we bring this back to
like social eating and social drinking streams. I like both of those. I'm like, I get this. Okay, right. Like that's just hanging out, man. Like I do that. Well, like, gotta get in there on the microphone.
ASMR talk. Strength Hammer ASMR time.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear my furnace kicking on again in the background?
Yeah. So back to Age of Sigmar, not ASMR of Sigmar.
We'll count it.
Yeah, I know. I had to try really hard. You could see my whole face contort as I tried to like get it out. It was not good.
I might splice in some ASMR clips whenever I'm calling you back when you dropped. I'll just throw them in out of nowhere.
It'll be a great like rolling gag that people won't get until after the third dropped call.
Yes. Well, see, that's the thing too. And actually, it was on Warhammer Weekly. Was that last week? When Haywo was on? Or was it 2 ago?
Dude, I missed Haywo. Oh wow, I missed Haywo. I know that Paul Conti was on.
It was Paul Conti. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Haywo. Didn't mean to insult you there. Oh,
they're very different humans, but their meme magic is on point.
Yes,
both of them have very strong meme games.
Both meme lords, but Paul pointed out exactly why I fell in love with your show originally, and why I keep giving you ideas to trick you to let me back on, and now why I'm bringing you onto this show. That you are the Joe Rogan style podcast for Age of Sigmar, which we don't have enough of. So, I mean, that's what this current episode is just about, just chatting and like where things go. But just and not for the fact like don't take it to like the level of like it's like, oh, you're the biggest celebrity and all that stuff. It's like no way. Yeah. I just my favorite thing, much to people's detriment whenever they're stuck on an airplane with me, is I like hearing people's stories. I like talking to people. That's my favorite thing, which is I listen to all the Joe Rogan podcasts. I also listen to a lot of Age of Sigmar stuff too, but like I said, on an airplane, if I don't mind the middle seat because I get to talk to two people. I'm that guy. Wow. And I'll get all three of us chatting and talking, man.
Yeah, kayfabe, man. I'm a window seat guy. I'm astounded. We did our sound check, and my voice changed, and I was like angry at myself. I'm like, you turned on Andrew. This was going to be the off episode. Fuck you, Mephisto persona. No, when Paul mentioned it, I found out about it because Chat Gang, shout out to Chat Gang. They sent me a message. They're like, oh yo, dude, like they just called you the Joe Rogan on. Of Age of Sigmar on Warhammer Weekly. My read wasn't like, hey, I'm the biggest name. No, that wasn't the read. I'm like, and I had to I'm like, was that an insult? Like, were they insulting me? Because like I don't.
That's a compliment.
And so then I realized it. I'm like, yeah, because I love Age of Sigmar so much. But what interests me is like the Venn diagram of people who play Age of Sigmar is one of the widest I've ever seen in like gaming. If I meet you, like we had this moment where we're feeling each other out for conspiracy theories. Like I'm like, which one am I going to say that's going to like hurt his feelings, or like if I make fun of like anti-vaxxers, am I going to, like you have that moment where you're like feeling people out. Like if we play together in like a tabletop RPG, I have a pretty good read on you're one of two types of tabletop RPG players. Mm-hmm. Like you're either woke gamer or you're escapist gamer, and those are super broad umbrellas. But like I get to know of how to like to interface with you, right, and like the third rails of conversation and stuff like that. When I'm talking to an Age of Sigmar player, third rails don't matter. It's like because I'm just there's such a person there, and they're not in the game for any reason that is quantifiable in a like ABC sort of manner. They walked into a store, they saw the models, and they just stuck with it. And I'm like, but you were a state football captain, and like or like a freaking like AAA gymnast, it's one of the players from my backyard. Mm-hmm. I'm not shouting you out twice in the same podcast. You know who you are.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm just like, wow. Like the breadth of gamer in this game is I love it, because to me, I think we've learned that the world is actually a lot smaller, sort of antithetically, mm-hmm, with COVID. Like we've learned how much community matters, and not just in an Age of Sigmar sense. I think in a kind of a global sense, like. Right. This thing got over here from that place like that, like it spread like this, like it's we're so much closer than we realize. Like we're having this podcast right now. You haven't left your basement, and I'm just going to exaggerate this here, like 40 days. Like I can see the stubble.
I can finally grow a beard. My work doesn't like beards, so I can finally grow one in quarantine.
Yeah. But like I think the world is a lot smaller than we realize. You talk to somebody that you played a game with at Adepticon, and then you just randomly play a game with somebody down the line in an LGS or something like that. You find out you have this like thing in common. You both played that guy, or holy crap, that person went to college with them, and you just like it's the how connected like our game is with. I think is a decent parallel to how connected I feel the world is, and what interests me is people and stories, and so I just want to hear them. And then I want to frame it around Age of Sigmar and, lasso Age of Sigmar back down anytime I can when it gets too far away. But I just want to hear people talk and give their POVs. I want to. It's not that I want to know what makes them tick, because it's not like I'm trying to figure you out. I just want to. I'm just curious. Like it's just mm-hmm, curiosity. It's just humble, basic curiosity.
People's stories are key. One, to help us all understand, and two, let's just throw it all the way back. This ties in directly to like what would make a better stream of a Warhammer tabletop game: the personalities of the people.
Oh, the stories, yeah.
I want to know about the hardships. I want to know how you've come up through the ranks and somehow managed to paint that OBR army in a week, and you're struggling right here, right now. And how are you going to overcome?
Dude, and that's another one of my guilty confessions. I haven't painted a model since we kind of went into this. Well, and I realized that without the goal, because I can't self-motivate, and I put this additional pressure, like I should be getting the most stuff done possible right now. I have the most excuse, and that's that burden of perception. Don't burden yourself with, or burden of expectation. don't burden yourself with expectations. If you expect that you're going to do this and this and this, like that's not as healthy as going like, oh, like I've got that thing and I like to do the thing by then, but I'm not going to break my own, psyche if I don't succeed. Like,
well, that's the thing. I had this real early on in all the quarantining when things were starting to like shut down.
It became real, right?
Yeah.
There's that moment where it became real. Like you're just like,
oh, and we're all in this together. But it was
not dank memes anymore. This is real.
This was memes. It was back to back. Well, one was a meme. It was back to back, and I was just like, man, there is two different types of people going into this, and there's gonna be two types of people coming out of this. And one was the meme that says, hey, now you got the time, get a hustle, get that hobby done, like get the projects done, get this, like learn a new language. It was like that. And immediately right after that, two people aren't friends, don't know each other. I'm the common connection here. Immediately behind that was the same post, but with everything crossed out, said, hey, if you don't do anything and use this time to relax, that's okay too. I'm just like, yeah, there's two types of people, and like, which are you? Like me, I'm very self-motivated, which is why I have nothing left to paint.
I need the exterior goals, man. I don't know how you do it.
But, both of those are okay. You just have to know which one you are and let yourself be that.
Yes.
So, I could give you all the advice in the world, and I did earlier to someone. It's like, this is what I'm doing. This is where I see it. Try it, but if it doesn't work for you, it's like, well, don't force it. Don't make yourself hate what you're doing. If nothing is what you're going to end up doing, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah. Well, I saw a meme in there too, and one of them was like, you're not in crush it mode, like kind of like the crossed out meme format,
Yeah.
It wasn't the exact same thing, but the conclusion was you're in survival mode. So like, it's okay to just get by and just, live in the moment and survive. Like one thing the great dissonance I felt was I found myself focusing on my family more than, anything.
Oh.
And I'm like, and so I saw, I have this slight streak of envy for people who like hobbied with their family, but like my family's connection has never really been about like gaming. Like I'm the nerd, and then like we have other stuff in common. So then like I go and do that other stuff we have in common, and that's what I ended up doing. And I think that's important to realize is like you're different than one single picture with text on it on the internet.
Yes.
It's okay to feel differently right now, and that's where that burden of expectation is. Like it's okay to bang out two armies, clear your shelf, and it's fine if that's in you. But if you just need to like smell the roses, walk the dogs a couple extra times a day, like that's fine too.
Yeah. And don't let what someone else is doing make you feel like that's what you have to do.
Right.
Like just because I painted everything quickly and nonstop doesn't mean that you should go out and do that right now, right? Like,
yeah, but you caught the curse. You confirmed that earlier on. I don't know if anyone was catching a wind of that conspiracy, but Games Workshop curses certain players to have to paint. If they paint all their models, they die.
Right, which is
like
why one will be left untouched as a collector's piece. But let's throw it all the way back here and then wrap it up because we both have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So back to I guess my initial frustrations of the fact that I'm surrounded by all these armies, and I don't know if I should keep them all or not. Whether I do or not, it's fine either way. I'm still Wargamer. I'm still Chuck. I'm still gonna move weights, play Daughter's Kane, and occasionally dress up for an award and put heels on.
Shamelessly.
Yeah. No one else is gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it too. It's true.
Yes,
dude. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm gonna have the COVID mask. That's gonna be like Nagash's face. So I'm gonna have the COVID mask to go with my weird top hat. Like it's gonna be great.
Well, see, the thing is too. Like I can actually dress as a canine assassin, so I can actually cosplay a male. People might like that better.
Get woke, folks. It's okay. It's the 21st century.
No. Okay. Everyone knows some jokes, but yeah, like I said, this chat has actually helped a lot. One, because I wanted to just really riff with somebody that I said we talk through text, but we don't do this voice too often.
The living nature of conversation, right? Where you just you catch those riffs and you see someone's face. Like I was being humorous here, but in text it's not there. Or I was being dead serious here on this thing that sounded humorous like with the Castlevania take, like, ha ha ha, that could be taken as a joke, but then you read my face and you go, no, this is really a resonant point.
Yeah.
Like, it's, yeah.
You're you're easy to jump on the flow and go with you. And then if like I said in the conversation, if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go this way, you're just like, okay, cool, let's go this way too. But yeah, so I still don't know if I want to keep all these armies. I still don't know if I'll Maria Kondo a lot of them or not. But
I can't answer that for you, but I will give you one piece of advice, and this is the listeners too. Don't make any rash decisions right now. I have a pile. It's not a stack. They've exploded out in all directions here. I've got my copy of Blood Omen 2, Legacy of Kain Blood Omen 2, sitting next to Bayonetta, and it's just like all like a jumble. And I'm like, man, I used to own Legacy of Kain Blood Omen 1 and the Soul Reaver games, and I've got Defiant in there somewhere. I'm upset that I don't have those snapshots of my progress and my collection, even though I know for a fact I probably won't be playing Legacy of Kain Blood Omen anytime soon because I made rash decisions. You got to make them more calculated down the line. Now, if we move out of COVID, I'm looking at this pile, I'm like, you know what? I moved that stuff. I haven't played those games in 10, 20 years. Maybe now it's time to part with them and move them. But I wouldn't make any rash decisions right now for anybody. I mean,
yes, 100%. Like I said, even though I've had these feelings for probably about a week now, and it's just like they reached kind of like a culmination point. And I talked to many people about this, and I got very wildly different answers. And the best answer, I think, is there's no right answer. Just feel it out. What's important? Like I'm trying right now. The next thing for me on this little journey is to decide what's more important: the memories I had of doing that army, or keeping that army.
Well, and do you need a icon to keep the memory? I think that's Molly just
like if I decided to sell like my corn, I would probably keep like one mod, like my Scar brand, maybe. I don't know. Like I'd probably keep one just to kind of put on display, but like, but like it's I don't know. I look at the armies. It's like there's a reason why, like, literally right here is my daughter's Kain army. I can touch it and feel it anytime I want.
Yeah.
It's but like no other army is ever gonna sit that close to me. But we'll see.
See, I can put it this way: if LON gets cannibalized going forward with what I think should happen, where like we got Ossiarch Bone Reapers, which are new Death Rattle, and I'm hoping to get Vampires sometime down the line. I'm not going to sell my Vlazda because there's the new Vlazda because of my connection to the army. What matters to me is the connection. That varies with people, but me, the weird extrovert or the introvert, sort of like whatever. I'm like, I kind of want to buy Slaves to Darkness now. So I've got the opposite direction of like impulse buy, and I have a couple Slaves to Darkness models. I've got my Be'lakor, and I was gonna buy the War Llama before the big Rona struck with a power bomb to society. I'm like, maybe I just go all in and get that Star Collecting box with those really sweet Chaos Warriors and see what happens. So, like, I would Ride or Die Deathman is like, I've got my vacation home, my Beast of Chaos, but, like, I could use a second vacation home, like, maybe out in the Keys, maybe Slaves to Dark.
Yeah, no, and like I said, that might be what you need. If you have the funds and the time and the energy, then do it. And if you don't like it, like I said, selling the models is always an option. Unless you're really somehow managed to ruin them, which I don't think you will. But yeah.
I will. You haven't seen. No, I'm kidding.
What else has been interesting too is I'm a big fan of Techless. This is gonna be like a little another side tangent here. I'm a big fan of Techless. So Lumineth Realm Lords came out. You think I'd be like, oh yeah, get back to my high, let's get back to this. My heart moved more whenever they showed the Daughters of Kain warband for Underworlds more than when I saw Techless, and I was just like, that was actually the moment when I realized how much I had changed.
I think that's a really important moment for you on your like personal journey, right? Because we're all on our own journey, right? Yeah. Yep. I think that's a super like poignant moment for you. Like you almost like when that happens, it galvanizes what you already kind of had been feeling, which is like, yeah, I loved High Elves, but like Like, no, like,
And
I've got
I
the
don't want to
mature
say
ones
that
now. Yeah, go on.
it's not the whole, these aren't my high elves. I love the look of the Lumineth Realm Lords.
They're good. I'm a fan.
Techless has some things I'd like to change, but regardless, I can always adjust that. But like, yeah, it's a whole thing. It's like as time goes on and more of this the Rona lockdown that we're in, I'm like, do I even want to buy Lumineth? Do I just want to buy the Battle Tome and just read the lore because I like the lore? Like, I don't know. Like, it's a whole like elf identity. Like, I have all the elves in army form. Do I need that? Like I said, that's for me to decide. It's like for me to figure out where that connection lies in my heart. Is it physically owning them, or is it just the memories of what they were to me whenever I needed them most?
I used to completely jettison nostalgia as a valuable feeling from my mind. Like when I was in games journalism, if a game was sold on nostalgia, I would just pan it, just shit on it. And then as I've gotten older, I've realized things like the 30-year cycle of art, and so like essentially people my age are now making stuff. What am I going to make? The stuff I grew up with, right? Homages to it. Nostalgia is valid emotion. It's something I used to crap on, but like I can't anymore because I've realized its value. And games are supposed to be fun. What gives you the fun? Like if your fun is like crushing noobs at the LGS, you know what? I'm not going to crap on you. Do it. But if your fun is like feeling that connection and seeing that lineage, and if your fun isn't having like an identity associated to like a kayfabe, like whatever your fun is, that's what you got to look for and lean into it. And nostalgia is a big part of tabletop gaming. I think it's just, we live in a digital age. Tabletop gaming brings us back together. We're back at the table around each other, and to me, that's what makes it awesome. If I wanted to just win, I'd go do something else I'm better at.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm nowhere closer to having a decision for this, but I feel better about knowing that I need to make one now.
I can't make it for you. I can't make it for anybody listening. My goal has never been to tell people how to think. I'm just curious in how they think. And maybe by talking, we can all just get to a different precipice in our own understanding of ourselves. That's what conversation is you refine the point or you change it.
Right.
So,
but I think it's, we're gonna call it a show. I mean, that is the longest Strength Hammer episode we've had so far.
I am shocked. This is my shocked face.
Well, we keep it to an hour because we had topics, but I'll be honest. Like, the more I listen to Joe Rogan, the more I think about like how much I love your podcast for what it was. The more I'm thinking that Strength Hammer may just change, and we may just do away with topics and just do this sort of stuff all the time.
You want a framing to have people, like, you think about Joe Rogan, he brings on a guest that everybody knows.
There is a topic. Yeah.
There's a framework. So you want a framework.
Right.
But the framework can be very loose. It doesn't need to be, it just needs to be, this is, one of the criticisms I got from Tyler Emerson, whom I respect probably the most in the community as like just a voice of content creation. He's too humble to like accept the compliment. But he told me like one thing I could do better is like just tell people kind of like the rabbit holes and like clue them in on the game. Be like, oh, so like we're gonna see how many rabbit holes we can go down tonight, and like this is the number of rabbit holes we're gonna try to hit, and just to clue people in on the Rantcast experience.
Right.
That's just giving me a framework that works with what I'm trying to do. I think we could use more Rogan experiences if that's the standard. Like,
no, you're right. You're right. Keep a framework. I need to loosen up. I think what I've been doing and just let things happen. Let the conversations flow. Go deep on conspiracy theories.
Right on.
Well, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm at 1% battery.
Okay. Where can people find you?
I'm at Mr_Meph, MEPH on Twitter. You can always check me out on Twitch at Mr_Mephisto, fully spelled out. And if you search Mr. Mephisto or AOS Rantcast, I should pop up on YouTube or any podcast app.
I'll put all the links in the description below too, and everything. For me, find me at strengthhammer_ on Twitch and Instagram. And thanks for joining me tonight and help me work through some frustrations.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
All right. Take care, everybody. Stay Stormcast strong.